Well, this is gonna be introduction for the Scrum, okay, guys? So everything that we use on our daily basis. Despite this presentation was created by me, everything that is here, it is exactly the same on as you guys can find on the Scrum Guide website or the PDF, okay? So I haven't changed or haven't add anything on the top of that. So it is everything like as hot as possible as it is there on the Scrum Guide, okay? So my goal with that is like just to make clear for everybody what is our objective is and like what we should be doing as a Scrum team in order for us to keep improving as a team, in order for us to know what is expected for a Scrum team to work together, okay? I'll be, sorry, I'll be present here, but if you have any questions, please just let me know, okay? You can just open your mic and let me know. So as I'm with just one screen here, as my computer is not fixed. If you have any question, please just open your mic and ask, okay? Because I'm not seeing the team's screen, okay? All right. So first of all, what is Scrum? So some people think that Scrum is a methodology, but it actually is not, okay? So Scrum is a framework. So it's something that we use as the basis to work as a Scrum team, okay? So just like for keep it simple and short, like I'll be reading here straightforward, like very slow for you guys to understand it. You can read together if you would like to. But like everything, I think he is very clear and very easy to understand. But as I said, if you have any further question, please let me know, okay? So if we're just getting started with Scrum, think of Scrum as a way to get work done as a team in small pieces at a time, okay? So with continuous experimentation and feedback loops, along with the way to learn and improve as you go, okay? So like we work together as a team, do some experimentations, we do some rounds of feedback, and through all of that, like from sprint to sprint, we're gonna improve as a team, okay? So that is the main objective as a Scrum team, to learn like from sprint to sprint and understand like which areas we can improve as a team. We're gonna cover this further on, okay? So Scrum helps people and teams to deliver value incrementally in a collaborative way. As an agile framework, Scrum provides just enough structure for people and teams to integrate into how they work while adding the right practice for optimize their specific needs, okay? So like we work together as a team and like for each sprint, we deliver at the end of it an incremental, okay? And everybody participate, everybody's engaged, and everybody has a part and a role to deliver this increment at the end of the sprint, okay? So like the main goal here with this first PPT is for us to understand that we are a team working together, that we learn from sprint to sprint, that we involved when we realize each areas we can improve, and also that Scrum is a framework. So if we need to change anything on it, although we keep using the ceremonies, etc., we can do that, okay? So Scrum Framework. Scrum is an empirical process where decisions are based on observation, experience, and experimentation. Scrum has three pillars. That it is transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Okay, so this supports the concept of working iteratively. Okay, think of empiricism as a work through small experiments, learning from that work and adapting both what we are doing and how we are doing it as needed. Okay, so if any of you don't know what is empiricism is, like the meaning of the word, I added here. So empiricism is a philosophical belief that states your knowledge of the world is based in your experience, particularly as a sense of experience. So basically, empiricism is like the things we learn on our daily basis. Okay, so nobody tell us what is that, or nobody, we cannot learn it in anywhere else. We learn it by the experience we have as a team. Okay, and for that, like we need to work upon these three pillars, that is transparency, inspection, and adaptation, that I'm going to cover on the next slide, okay? So basically the Scrum, it relates itself that has a pillar that builds everything up on the top of that. So like first, as a Scrum team, we need to have between us trust. So that's why all the meetings that we have, especially the retrospective one, I try to make everybody confident and like have trust in what we're gonna say. Like, so everybody has a space, everybody has a voice, and everybody can give their opinions, okay? Because we are a team, we all work for the same purpose, for the same goal. So if we don't have trust in one another, if we don't trust the work that we are doing together as a team, it's going to be quite kind of difficult for us to accomplish the other basis of the Scrum, that is transparency, inspection, and adaptation, okay? So for us to be able to make Scrum working, we need first to have trust as a team, then to have transparency, so everybody can let, for example, everybody knows, for example, when you are not comfortable with something, or that you don't know what you are doing, or that something that you are doing is not the best way it's possible to do it, okay? Inspection, so like we inspect what we have done. That's the purpose for the retrospective as well. So after we close our sprint, we reflect what we have done and see what we can improve from that, okay? So for each inspection that we do, we find ways to improve as a team, okay? That is the other column, that is adaptation, okay? So like basically we need to do this every sprint. So we need to have transparency between one another, we need to inspect what we are working together, and then adaptation for the next sprints, okay? And then also Scrum has some values, okay? So one of some of these values are courage, focus, commitment, and respect, okay? And openness. So all important elements that Scrum team members must consider when work together. So like Scrum team must have courage to do the right thing and to work through the problems, okay? Focus for everyone focus on the work of the sprint and goals for the Scrum team, okay? Commitment, people personally commit to achieving the goals of the Scrum team. Respect, Scrum team members respect each other to be capable, independent people. And openness, the Scrum team and the stakeholders agree to be open about all the work and challenges will perform the work, okay? So like for the Scrum to work, we need to follow all of this and like put it like in an easier way is to everybody trust one another, trust in the work that we are doing, respect each other, listen to the other people's opinion and voice, and like with all of that together, we can create like a safe environment and a nice environment where everybody work together and inspect and adapt for future interactions of the sprint, okay? Any questions so far until here, guys? No? Okay, let me just drink some water and I will continue. Okay, so next one. So Scrum Framework. Very briefly, Scrum requires an environment where increments of available work are delivered in a short cycles of 1 month or less, which are called sprint. Everything that I'm reading here, I'm going to explain on the next slides, okay? Ongoing feedback occurs during the sprint, allowing for inspection and adaptation of the process and what will be delivered, okay? The Scrum team, the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Dev team, who are accountable for turning the selection of the work into an increment of value during a sprint. The Scrum team and other members of the organization, business, users, or customer base know as stakeholders, inspect the result of the sprint and adjust for the next one, okay? So basically, the Scrum Framework is built on of these topics here, okay? So the Scrum Framework consists of a Scrum team that is built, made of the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers, okay? So these were developers is not just you guys as developers that do the coding, etc., but is every other people that makes part of the team. So like, for example, if we have some DevOps, if we have some testers, if we have some database team, if we have like a designer. So every people on the Scrum team that is not the product owner and it's not the Scrum master, they're going to be assigned to the developer role. Okay, so we do not divide the roles a part of those three that is here. Okay, so the Scrum team takes part in 5 events or ceremonies. So the sprint itself, the sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. Okay, so that are the 5 events we have on the Scrum. And then finally, we have 3 artifacts. That is the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. Okay. So basically, guys, increment for you guys that might not know what is an increment. So an increment is everything that we deliver as a final result of what we are doing on the sprint. Okay. So for example, we are building, let's say, like I don't know, like what can I give as an example? We're building like a website. So for the website works, we need to develop a lot of pages. So the index page, the client page, the financial page, etc. But for this to be considered an increment, it needs to work. So for example, let's say we are building a financial page for this website. So we only can call this page as an increment. Everything is working there. So all the modules, all the clients database, all the functionalities, everything that we need to have on this page is finalized. Then we can consider this an increment. Okay, you guys gonna see here on the next slide. So basically, this is here on the Scrum framework. And as I said before, we have here the 5 ceremonies. Okay, so the sprint itself that compile all the other ceremonies together. That is the sprint planning, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint itself, as I said for you guys. Okay, and also we have the artifacts. That is the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment, as I just said for you. Okay, so first, like we going to have the product backlog where the business add all the requirements and everything that we need to develop as a team. And then we're going to take these requirements from the product backlog and break it down to the sprint backlog. So we do that on the planning session here, okay? So on the planning, you go to the product backlog, get all the requirements, break this down into a small backlog and in small pieces, add it to the sprint backlog. And then once everything is organized, we start the sprint. And then we keep the daily, the loop here on our daily call. So where we analyze, inspect, and see what we are doing as a team. And then after we do that, we go, we have an increment that's ready. And then after this increment is ready, we have the sprint review, or what we call here on this thing, our demo call. So we show up for the stakeholders and for the business to validate that and to check if everything is exactly in the way that they request, if they accept that increment. And once it's completed, we move to the sprint retrospective to inspect and to analyze and to see how we progressed as a team on that sprint specifically, and to see which areas we can improve as a team or what we can change for the next sprint to do it in a better way. Okay, and then we start all over again. So this is kind of a loop. Okay, so every sprint going to be the same. What changes like the product backlog, because it's gonna be changing from time to time. The sprint backlog as well, because we're gonna be delivering all the requirements that is there, and then it's going to be changed all the time. And also anything that we identify that can be changed as a team, we're going to change it as well for every sprint on the future. Okay, and by that, like every sprint that we do as a team, like we're going to identify areas that we can improve, that we can change, and that we can modify in order for us to do our work like in a better way possible. Okay, so that's why we call this Scrum as an impressive way of working, because we learn from our experience and adjust it accordingly. Okay, any questions so far, guys? Here until here?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
for the increment that we produce at the end of the sprint, is it typically like it's one increment or is it like multiple increments? Like
Can be
it's like at the end of the sprint.
it can be multiple. It's depend like how big the team are and which kind of feature we are working. So sometimes we can deliver more than one, or it can be just one. It depends like of what we are doing.
Okay, cool.
Okay, you got it.
Yep,
Okay.
thanks.
Any other question, guys? Okay. If I'm going too fast, please let me know also. Okay. Then we have here the Scrum team that's going to be described each person responsibility. Okay. So as I said for you guys, the Scrum team, a part of the Scrum Master and the PO, we have the developers, and all of us together, we can be a maximum of 10 persons, okay? Including the Scrum Master and including the PO. So like we can have 8 developers in the team, plus the Scrum Master, plus the PO, okay? I will not read all of this here for the sake of our time, but also you can read this afterwards, okay? And any question, just let me know. I'm going just to cover the essential here, okay? So yeah, on this slide, it just tells us that we cannot have more than 10 persons. If we have more than 10 persons, we need to break down this thing, okay? So Scrum guide us to work with the maximum of 10 persons. Then we have the Scrum Master that's me, that I'm going to cover here just basically what is my role as a Scrum Master for you guys here, okay? So the Scrum Master serves the product owner in several ways, including helping find techniques for active product goal, for effective product goal definition and product backlog management, help the Scrum team understand the need of a clear and concise product backlog items. Yes, any questions? Okay. Help establishing empirical product planning for a complex environment and facilitating stakeholders collaboration as requested or needed, okay? And the Scrum Master serve the organization in several ways, including leading, training, and coaching the organization into Scrum adoption. That is what we are doing right now, okay? Planning and advising Scrum implementations within the organization, help employees and stakeholders understand and enact an empirical approach for complex work, and removing barriers between stakeholders and the Scrum team, okay? So basically, it's what I do with you guys every day to ask if you guys have any problems, if you have any impediments or anything that is not allowing you guys to keep doing your work, okay? So anything that is in the way, that does not allow you guys to keep your work, you just need to let me know, and then I will do everything that's possible to unblock it, and then you guys can move on with your work, okay? But this is like just a few stuffs. We, in general, that is what Scrum says, but like in the reality, in the companies, we do much more than that, okay? So product owner. So the product owner is also accountable for active product backlog management, which includes developing and explicitly communication the product goal, creating in clear communication product backlog items, ordering the product backlog items, and ensure that the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood. So this word here, transparent, it means that everybody has access to it, okay? So everybody in the company, everybody in the project, including the stakeholders, can have access to our backlog to see what is being required to the team, okay? And understood like is to make sure that other developers and everybody that's going to take this backlog item to work understand what is required on that, okay? So the product owner may do the above work and may delegate the responsibility to others. Regardless, the product owner remains accountable. So sometimes, like as you guys already do that, for example, sometimes you guys create the backlog items, okay? So this is delegate for the product owner to you guys. But a part of that, like the responsible for this item is the product owner, okay? So like, for example, let's say you guys create an item there. and they need help to like provide more detail and to understand better what is being requested, is the product owner responsibility to do that for you guys, okay? So product owners, for product owners to succeed, the entire organization must respect their decisions. These decisions are visible in the content and ordering of the product backlog and through the inspectable increment at the sprint review. So as I said for you guys, once we conclude our sprint on our sprint review, ideally, like all the stakeholders of that product should be on the retrospective call, on the review call, for they to inspect what we have built and like give us feedback and let us know what they think about what we have done. But like in reality, it doesn't happen as much because of the agenda, because of a lot of things that they have to do. So it's not possible for the stakeholders to be there on this meeting, okay? But like that is the ideal scenario, that everybody's there to inspect and to get to give feedback on what we have done, okay? And finally, the product owner is one person, not a committee. The product owner may represent the needs of many stakeholders in the product backlog. Those waiting to change the product backlog can do so by trying to convince the product owner. So like the only one that can change the product backlog is the product owner, okay? Because he's responsible for everything on our product backlog. And also it says here that it is one person, not a committee, because sometimes the same product owner take care of one or more Scrum teams. So we cannot have more than one product owner for each Scrum team, okay? So move on. Finally, the development team. So as I said, the development team is composed by multiple functions or multiple, how can I say? I think is the best word is multiple functions. As I said, like developers, UX, testing, delivery, database, etc. Okay. So as described in the Scrum Guide, developers are the people in the Scrum that are committed to create an aspect of a usable increment each sprint. So as you guys already know, like you are the ones responsible for do the work to create an increment at the end of the sprint, okay? The development team can be made up of all kinds of people, including designers, writers, programmers, etc., as I just said. The specific skills needed by the developers are often broad and will vary with the domain of work. However, the developers are always accountable for. So like this for here is what you guys always should know what you are doing, or you like in theory, you should know all of this for here, okay? So create a plan for the sprint in the sprint backlog. So once we create our sprint backlog, we give the estimation, we plan what we have done. You guys are responsible to create a plan for how it's going to be done, okay? So let's say we have there 10 items on our backlog, and then, like for example, me or Kevin cannot tell us you guys which is the order that must be followed, okay? You guys are the ones to choose it. You are responsible to deliver it, okay? You should decide what is the better way to develop or to accomplish what we have planned on our planning session, okay? Second, guarantee quality by adhering to the definition of done. Again, like in the ideal scenario, we would have a definition of done that I'm going to explain further on the presentation for you guys, but it's not what happens here. Unfortunately, we are searching to accomplish our definition of done. And just to give like a brief explanation here, a definition of done mostly would be like a step guide documentation where you guys can get to know when one incremental or one development that you are doing can be accepted and can be considered done, okay? So the definition of done is a documentation that's going to be described there, everything that you guys need to follow in order to this product or this increment be accepted, okay? So adapting their plan each day towards the sprint goal, that is what we do on our daily calls to inspecting to see how we are progressing on the sprint. And then if needed, we can change how we are doing that, okay? And finally, holding each other accountable as a professional. So the development team should be working as close as possible, one help each other. That is what you guys do, that I can see that. And like everybody has the same purpose and the same goal, and everybody should help each other, okay? Any questions so far with the roles on the Scrum? No? Okay. So the Scrum events. So the sprint, that is the sprint itself, as I said for you guys, as I showed for you guys here on this image. So the Scrum is that holds all the other ceremonies inside, okay? So we have the Scrum, and then we have all the ceremonies and artifacts inside, okay? So that is our first event. What is that? Okay, so a sprint can have a duration of 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, so it cannot be less and it cannot be longer than 4 weeks. Okay, we cannot change this duration. We can have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, but we cannot have like 5, 6 or more than that. Okay, and like we cannot have less than 1 week, because although it won't work, because we need this time to do all the ceremonies that is required inside of the sprint, okay? As I said, like I will not read everything here for our time, but like you can read everything later on or take any doubts that you might have with me later on, okay? So sprint planning. So the time box for sprint planning is a maximum of 8 hours for a 4-week sprint. And for shorter sprint, the time box is going to be shorter as well, okay? So for us, as an example, we have 2 weeks sprint, that the ideal time box would be 4 hours maximum, okay? So the sprint plan, as you guys know, is where we take the items from the product backlog and then break it down and finalize it, give description, give estimation, give all the details and explanation that we need in order to add it to the sprint backlog, okay? Daily Scrum, so it's our daily that we do every day that has a time box of maximum 15 minutes, okay? So we cannot go ideally, because like in general is not what happens sometimes. For us, I think it's going okay, like we are not overpassing the 50 minutes, but ideally the time box for a daily Scrum should be 15 minutes, okay? So for this, I'm going to read, because I think it's important for everybody to understand what we should be covering on our daily Scrum, because sometimes people might think that the only thing that we need to do there is to say what I have done yesterday and what I will do today, but like the purpose is not that, okay? You just hear one thing on the top of that, like the only persons that is necessary and it is obligated to be present on the daily Scrum is you guys developers, okay? So me as a Scrum Master and Kelvin as a PO, we are not obligated to be there, because the daily Scrum is for you guys developers. So you should like cover your daily activities and what you guys are planning to do in order to deliver the increment, okay? All right, so let me read here. So the purpose of the daily Scrum is to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary, adjusting the upcoming planned work. The daily Scrum is a 15 minutes event for the developers of the Scrum team. To reduce complexity, it's held at the same time in a place every work day of the sprint. So before the pandemic, etc., the sprint plan used to happen on a physical environment where everybody was stand up, like they didn't sit or they didn't take computers, they didn't take nothing. So that's why sometimes the daily Scrum is called stand up, because people used to stand instead of sit. And also for keeping the duration short, because if people sit and get accommodated, they would extend the duration of the call, okay? So yeah, just as a matter of knowledge for you guys and curiosity. So if the product owner or Scrum Master are actively work on items in the sprint backlog, they participate as developers. So sometimes like we have product owners or Scrum Master that also are a developer. So it can happen like sometimes some people has more than one role, okay? The developers can select whatever structure and techniques they want, as long as their daily Scrum focus on progress toward the sprint goal, and products an actionable plan for the next day of work. This creates focus and improves self-management. Daily Scrums improve communications, identify impediments, promote quickly decision make, and consequently eliminate the need for other meetings. The daily scrum is not the only time developers are allowed to adjust their plan. They often meet throughout the day for more detailed discussions about adapting or replanning the rest of the sprint work. Okay, so basically is that we as a team or you guys as developers should be doing on our daily scrum. Okay, any questions here? No? Okay. So sprint review. So as I said for you guys, like on our sprint review is the meeting that we inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine the adaptations, okay? So the Scrum team presents the result of the work to our key stakeholders and progress toward the product goal is discussed. But as I said, it's not always that the stakeholders can be present on the meeting. So that's why we present it to the PO, the product owner, because he's the one in charge of accept it and communicate with the stakeholders in order for us to approve or do not approve the increment that we produce in the end of the sprint, okay? Also, the sprint review, I forgot to say, have a maximum of 4 hours for a 4 weeks sprint, okay? So in our case that we are 2 weeks, it should be 2 hours maximum, okay? During the event, the Scrum team and stakeholders review what was accomplished in the sprint and what has changed in their environment. Based on this information, attendees collaborate on what to do next. The product backlog may also be adjusted to meet the new opportunities. The sprint review is a work session, and the Scrum team should avoid limiting it to a presentation. So yes, like it's a call that we can do more than just review and present what we have done. As it says here, like we can also adjust our product backlog and also collaborate and like discuss what we can do for next sprint, okay? And finally, the sprint review is the second from the last event of the sprint, and this is time, I already covered that, it's maximum 4 hours, okay? And then for shorter sprints, this event is usually shorter, okay? Any question for the sprint review? Okay, so sprint retrospective, I think this one is very important for read everything because it's the meetings that most people think is not necessary, or sometimes we do this meeting just like to follow our agendas, etc. But like it has a purpose. In my opinion, at least, I think is one of the most important meetings because as you guys saw on the beginning of the presentation, as a Scrum team, like we should use the empiricism, that in other words is like to inspect and analyze what we have done and identify ways to improve as a team and identify what we can change and what we've learned as a team in order to do what we need to do in a better way possible. And like as me, for example, as a Scrum Master, I'm trying to reduce the time that we spend on meetings. I'm trying to help you guys with the estimation and etc. Just an example. And all of these changes came from the sprint retrospective feedbacks, okay? So this is the meeting where we can evaluate and like get to know what we can improve as a team, okay? So the time box duration for a 4 weeks sprint maximum is 3 hours. And for us, as a 2 weeks sprint is 1.5 hours, okay? So the purpose of this sprint retrospective is to plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. The Scrum teams inspect how the last sprint went with regards to individuals, interactions, process, tools, and definition of done. So is what I say for you guys on the beginning of our retrospective call, that we not just should be thinking or considering some specific topic, but like everything that we would like to cover and to talk and to bring in to discuss as a team is welcome. Okay, so we are not just stuck with these things here. Okay. So inspecting elements often vary with the domain of the work. Assumptions that lead them astray are identified in their origin explored. The Scrum team discussed what went well during the sprint, what problems it encountered, and how those problems were or were not solved. The Scrum team identifies the most helpful changes to improve its effectiveness. The most impactful improvements are addressed as soon as possible. They may even be added to the sprint backlog for next sprint. So is the topics that we identify as point of improvement. And as I did for you guys, I create a retrospective action item onto our backlog. And then we should be working on this during the sprint to achieve this point of improvements, okay? So basically is what it is saying here. The sprint retrospective conclude the sprint, so it is the last event we have on the Scrum, okay? And as I said, the time box is 3 hours for a 4-week sprint. Any question, guys, here? Okay, let's move on. So the Scrum artifacts, okay? So we have 3 artifacts, as I said for you guys. First one, it is the product backlog. As I said, is all the requirements that come from the business to us as a team in a very high level. And then we break this down, these requirements into small pieces inside of the sprint backlog is where you're going to get this and understand what is required in small pieces. And during the sprint, we're going to work on that to accomplish what was required. And then at the end, we're going to deliver an increment, okay? So basically is what is saying here on this PPT. Any questions here? Okay. So the product backlog, this one I think is important, so I'm going to read it here, okay? So the product backlog is an emergent ordered list of what is needed to improve the product. It is the single source of work undertaken by the Scrum team. Okay, so like the product backlog should be ordered, it should be estimated, it should be organized, and it is emergent. That in other words means that like it's going to be increased or changed as necessary. Okay, product backlog items that can be done by the Scrum team within one sprint are considered ready for the selection in a sprint plan event. Okay, so all the items that is on the product backlog that we already understood what was required and already is agreed by the team, we break this down into the sprint backlog, and it is considered ready to be worked, okay? Because sometimes we have items here that's not yet clear what is required, and like until we validate and until we like get to know everything that is required, we cannot add it to the sprint backlog, okay? It needs to be clear and it needs to be understood before we break it down to the sprint backlog, okay? This is an ongoing activity to add details such as description, order, and size. Attributes often vary with the domain of work. So as I said, like it's a daily activity to add more details, to add descriptions, to estimate it, and to add all the necessary details in order to make it as clear as possible for we break this down into our sprint backlog later on, okay? The developers who will be doing the work are responsible for the sizing. So as I said for you guys on our planning session, like you are the ones responsible for providing the estimation. Like only you guys can tell us how difficult and how difficult it's not to do what you guys are requested to do, okay? So if you guys saying that like something is easy or it is complicated, me and Kevin as PO and Scrum Master, we cannot go against your decision because in the end that is you guys doing the development part. So for that, like coming back to the principle of the Scrum, that we need to have trust, that we need to have openness, and to trust one another. That's why I'm trying to tell for you guys all the time that we're doing the plans. Guys, if you're not sure about like the size of an item or the complexity of this item, please go for a high estimation, okay? Because as I said for you guys, it's better us to deliver an item that is done, that can be considered an increment, and that not going to bring to us later on like some tech debt or some bugs. Then like take a lot of items that we cannot finalize or we cannot accept it as achieved, okay? So it is very important for you guys to take any doubts you have, to like ask as many questions as you would like to understand what is being required and provide the right estimation for that. So then we can go smoothly and have a nice sprint and don't like kind of suffer some pressure when we are not able to deliver what is being requested, okay? So the product owner may influence the developers by helping them to understand and select trade-offs, okay? So the product owner needs to clarify and help you guys understand what is being required, okay? So just here, like as an example, the product backlog, it goes from the high priority to the low priority. So it needs to be organized, okay? So the high priority ones on the top and the low priority ones on the bottom. And mostly the product backlog items are consisted of user story, bugs, just an example, we don't use it here, but refactoring and knowledge acquisition. So it may vary according to each company or each project, okay? So in our case, we have user story, we have bugs, we have apps, we have activities, but we don't have those two here, okay? Any questions until here, guys? Okay, so I'm already over the time. Let me go a little bit faster. So the product goal, okay, this is very important as well. We are not using it 100%, but like we should, but we are on the way along with the management team to implement this as soon as possible, because this helps us a lot to understand what we need to do as a team in order to deliver an increment at the end of the sprint, okay? So just to be quickly, I'm gonna read here. So the product goal describe a future state of the product which can serve as a target for the Scrum team to plan against. So the product goal is in the product backlog. The rest of the product backlog emerged to define what will fulfill the product goal, okay? So the product goal is basically like what we as a team going to do in order to achieve what is being requested by the business or by the stakeholder, okay? So for example, as I used before, to develop our website. So how we as a team, which plan we have in order to achieve that. So how we're gonna do that. So that is the product goal. We need to describe it, to create a plan, to create a goal in order to deliver this website in the end of the sprints, okay? And this is the product goal, okay? It's not the sprint goal. Sprint goal is different. I'm going to explain later on, okay? So this is the goal to deliver the whole product, not just the increment of this product, okay? Not just a piece of this product, is everything together. A product is a vehicle to deliver value. It has a clear boundary, known as stakeholders, well-defined users or customers. A product could be a service, a physical product, or something more abstract, as I just give for you guys as an example, our website. The product goals is the long-term objective for the Scrum team. So like, as I said for you guys here, on the product backlog, like we're not going to complete all these items in under one sprint, like it's going to be taken multiple sprints for us to accomplish that and to deliver the final product, okay? So it's something that's going to be taking a lot of time to accomplish it, okay? And they must fulfill or abandon one objective before take on the next, okay? So that is the product goal. Any question, guys, here on the product goal? All right. So sprint backlog. So the sprint backlog is composed of the sprint goal, the set of product backlog items select for the sprint. This is something that we need to understand as well, okay? So the sprint backlog is composed of the sprint goal. So why we are doing that, okay? Why we are delivering, why we are creating this increment, okay? And then sometimes even on the user story itself, you can see some descriptions that some stakeholders use this, the why, what, and how, okay? So why we are doing that, what we are doing, and how we're gonna do that, okay? So yeah, just come back here. So the sprint backlog is composed of the sprint goal, so why we are doing that, okay? The set of products backlog items select for the sprint, so what we are going to do, as well as an actionable plan for delivering the increment. So how we're going to deliver what is being requested for the stakeholders, okay? So those those three questions, why, what, and how. So why we are doing that, what we are doing, and how we're gonna do that, okay? The sprint backlog is a plan by and for the developers. So yes, you guys as developers should be the one that creates the plan to deliver that, to deliver what is being requested. So in theory, like Kevin is provide the sprint backlog and the sprint goal, but like you as a developer should be the ones that create it, okay? It is a high visible real-time picture of the work that the developers plan to accomplish during the sprint in order to achieve the sprint goal, okay? So like the sprint backlog should be ordered, should be estimated, should be clear, and you guys as developers should have a plan to deliver it and following the sprint goal, okay? That is on the next slide. Consequently, the sprint backlog is updated through the sprint as more is learned. It should have enough detail that they can inspect the progress in the daily Scrum, okay? So we can change the sprint backlog as necessary. We can add more items if it's necessary. But as I said, for you guys, we need to have a reason for that. We need to have a purpose to that, because we should, like on the planning session, understand everything that we're gonna do, plan how we're gonna do that. And once the sprint started, like you should not be adding any items, because we already create a plan for do that, okay? But as Scrum allow us to change and to inspect and to modify as needed, if necessary, as it happens a lot with us, we sometimes adds more items to the sprint backlog, okay? It's not the ideal case, as I already explained for you guys, but if it's necessary, we can do that, okay? Finally, just come back here. Any questions here, guys, on the sprint backlog? All right, so sprint goal. So the sprint goal is the single objective for the sprint. Although the sprint goal is commitment by the developers, it provides flexibility in terms of the exact work needed to achieve it. The sprint goal also creates coherency and focus, encouraging the Scrum team to work together rather than on separate initiatives. The sprint goal is created during the sprint planning event and then added to the sprint backlog. As developers work during the sprint, they keep the sprint goal in mind. If the work turns out to be different that they expected, they collaborate with the product owner to negotiate the scope of the sprint backlog within the sprint without affecting the sprint goal, okay? So the sprint goal, like as I said for you guys, we need to create a plan and to decide and to understand how we're going to deliver the items that we add to the sprint goal in order to make these items an increment in the end of the sprint, okay? Any questions here, guys? Okay, so just as an example, again, come to the website, like, so let's say our goal for this specific sprint is to create a website. So on the sprint goal, you guys need to describe as a team to create a plan, how we're going to build this website. Are we going to create first like the index page, or are we going just like to ask the designers to create all the layout first before starting to code? Or are we going to first like do the client's page and focus on the others later? So this should be the sprint goal, okay? It should describe how we're going to be working together to deliver what is requested, okay? So for example, to build a website, first we need to talk with the stakeholders to understand their requirements, to understand what they want. Then we ask the design to create a mock-up for us to understand what they want, and then finally we start the coding and deliver it. And like we can test every day, etc., etc. So this is the sprint goal. Okay. Sometimes we do it very short, but like it should describe exactly how we are planning to achieve that increment. Okay. All right, so this is the increment as I was talking about. So as you guys can see here on the list, like first we have this square here, and then it goes on the box on the next picture. Then the box is covered up on tape, and then they put it inside of a gift paper. Okay, so like it's step by step until it gets ready. Okay, so it's not like it doesn't jump from the first stage to the last one. It goes to be growing and to get ready each day after sprint. Okay, so as it is here on the text, an increment is a concrete stepping stone toward the product goal. Each increment is additive to all prior increment and truly verified, ensuring that all increments work together. In order to provide value, the increment must be usable. Multiple increments may be created within a sprint. So replying your question, Amelia, so it can be one or multiple. Okay. The sum of the increments is present at the sprint review. Those supporting in parentheses. So as I said for you guys, we can learn and can change accordingly with our needs every day. And however, an increment be delivered to the stakeholders prior to the end of the sprint. The sprint review should never be considered a gate release value. Work cannot be considered part of an increment unless it meets the definition of done. So for an increment to be accepted, it should follow all the definition of done definitions. So for example, like in this case of this box, so let's say like for this be accepted as an increment, in the end, like we should deliver a box in a package that contains a red present paper. So like if in the end it doesn't has like the red paper, it won't be accepted by the definition of done. So we need to come back, adjust it, and then release it again. Okay. But as I said for you guys, we are not using the definition of done so far. So there is no way or no step guides for us to follow and to understand how we can proceed to this item to be accepted. Okay, but this is the ideal scenario. We have a definition of done, and then once we are in doubt what this item or this increment needs to follow in order to be accepted, everything going to be explained on the definition of done. Okay, any questions here, guys, on the increment? All right, I'm almost there and take very long. So the definition of done, as I said for you guys, is already explained. So it's a list where we can understand and like follow up how we're going to be accepting this increment. Okay, so it's how can I say that? It's an alive documentation. Okay, because it can change accordingly to our needs. Okay, and yes, that's it. That was the last one. Let me just check the definition of done if there is anything else. Just as I said before, like if a product backlog item does not meet the definition of done, it cannot be released or even present to the sprint review. Instead, it returns to the product backlog for future considerations. So as I said for you guys, like if it doesn't meet the definition of done and doesn't meet what is requested by the stakeholders and by the PO, it cannot be accepted as an increment. Okay, so it needs to return for the product backlog or even for the next sprint, as sometimes we do when we carry over an item. Okay, not just because it doesn't meet the definition of done, but not because also it was not 100% completed. Okay, and that was it. Anyone has any question, guys? Any